Imagine being so beautiful. The goddess of beauty wants to destroy you. Once upon a time in ancient Greece, in a quiet kingdom nestled between green hills and blue skies, lived a young woman named Psyche. She didn't have powers. She didn't speak to gods. She wasn't born into royalty or magic, but she had something no one else had. A beauty so rare, people stopped praying to the goddess Aphrodite and started worshipping her instead. And that was a problem, because when gods are forgotten, they don't fade quietly. They fight to be remembered. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, burned with jealousy. Imagine being the goddess of something and someone mortal becomes better than you at it. Can beauty become a curse? Can admiration become punishment? To Aphrodite, Psyche wasn't a girl anymore. She was a threat. So she called upon her son, Eros, the god of love, known for making people fall head over heels with a single arrow. Aphrodite gave him a cruel mission.
Make Psyche fall in love with the ugliest, most terrifying creature that walks the earth.
Eros, like a loyal son, flew down with his golden bow and arrows. But fate has a strange sense of humor, because when he saw Psyche for the first time, he didn't shoot his arrow. He accidentally pricked himself. And just like that, the god of love fell in love. But he knew the truth. He couldn't reveal who he was. So he built her a palace hidden in the clouds, a magical world of music, fountains, flowers that bloomed without sun, and halls that echoed her name. Every night he came to her. She could hear his voice, feel his touch, even fall asleep beside him. But she was never allowed to see his face.
No matter what, you must never look at me,
he said. At first, Psyche accepted this. After all, she was safe, loved, cared for, but love without trust is like a house without walls, beautiful for a while, but eventually it crumbles. And one day, her jealous sisters came to visit. They saw the floating palace, the treasures, the silence, but no husband.
What if he's a monster? What kind of man hides his face in the dark?
They whispered. Doubt crept into Psyche's heart like a shadow that grows when you're alone too long. That night, as Eros slept, she lit an oil lamp. She held her breath, leaned in close, and saw not a monster, but the most radiant being she had ever laid eyes on. It was Eros himself, beautiful, divine, gentle, not a curse, a gift she didn't believe she deserved. But as she stared, a single drop of hot oil slipped from the lamp and fell on his skin. He woke. His expression didn't show anger, only heartbreak.
You didn't trust me, and now this love, this place, it cannot exist anymore,
he whispered. In an instant, the palace vanished. Eros disappeared into the night sky, and Psyche was left alone, on the cold earth, with nothing. What would you do if you had love in your hands and lost it because you doubted yourself? Most would collapse, cry, regret. But Psyche didn't. She stood up and made a choice.
I will find him. I will earn him back, no matter what it takes.
Even if it meant facing the wrath of Aphrodite herself. And the goddess? She was waiting with a smile, not to forgive, but to break her. Aphrodite didn't scream. She didn't rage. She simply smiled. Because she knew the worst punishment isn't pain, it's impossible hope. So she gave Psyche 4 tasks, each one designed to humiliate her, to crush her spirit, to prove that a mortal could never be worthy of a god's love.
If you complete them, maybe you'll see him again,
Aphrodite said. Task 1. The Mountain of Seeds. A massive pile of seeds, grains, lentils, thousands of them, all mixed together in one giant mound.
Sort them by nightfall,
Aphrodite said.
or don't bother returning.
Psyche looked at the pile. Her hands shook. The sun was already moving. She knew she couldn't do it, not alone. But then, the ground moved. Tiny ants emerged from the soil, hundreds of them. They didn't speak. They didn't ask why. They just got to work, grain by grain, seed by seed. And by nightfall, the pile was perfectly sorted. Sometimes, when you dare to begin, help comes from unexpected places. Task 2. The Golden Fleece. A river valley filled with wild golden rams. Their horns were sharp. Their eyes burned like fire. They would trample anything in their path. Aphrodite's command was simple.
Bring me a tuft of their golden wool.
Psyche didn't run in. She didn't fight. She waited, and as the sun dipped low, the rams wandered away to rest. Psyche moved quietly through the reeds, collecting the tufts of golden fleece caught on the thorns. Strength isn't always force. Sometimes it's patience. Task 3. The Water of Life. This time, Aphrodite sent her to a high mountain cliff where water spilled from an unreachable spring, a waterfall guarded by dragons and impossible winds. No human had ever touched it. But as Psyche stood there, wondering how to even try, a shadow crossed the sky. An eagle, strong and swift, descended, a messenger of Zeus. It took her flask, soared upward, and returned it, full. Not because Psyche commanded it, but because the gods had started to watch, and even they were beginning to respect her courage. Task 4. The Box from the Underworld. The final task, the most terrifying.
Go to the Underworld. Ask Queen Persephone for a box of beauty. Bring it to me unopened.
Aphrodite said. Yes, you heard right. Psyche had to enter the land of the dead. No tricks, no shortcuts. She walked the path all mortals fear, cold caves, endless tunnels, shadows that whispered, but she went. And by the way, you remember Persephone, right? I told her story in a previous video. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's one of the most haunting love stories in mythology. Now back to Psyche. She met Persephone, she received the box, and against all odds, she returned alive. But on her journey back, another thought crept in.
What if I used just a little of the beauty inside? What if it made me enough for him, for Aphrodite, for the gods?
So, she opened the box, but there was no beauty inside, only sleep. Psyche collapsed. Her body stilled. Her spirit fell, not from failure, but from one final test, the temptation of perfection. And now, this could have been the end, but it wasn't, because love was still watching. Far above in the sky, Eros felt her fall. He rushed down, faster than light, through the clouds, through the silence. He found her. He held her, and with a kiss, he woke her from the sleep of death.
You came back. You did what no mortal ever dared to do.
He whispered. She didn't just pass the tests. She earned the respect of the gods. Eros had seen countless stories of love, fleeting, fragile, forgotten. But Psyche's love, it endured trials, faced death, defied gods. And so, for the first time, he didn't run from Olympus. He went to it. He stood before Zeus, king of the gods. He said,
She's proven herself. Let her stand beside me, not as a prize, not as a mortal, but as my equal.
Zeus, who had seen thousands beg and kneel, didn't laugh. He nodded, because even the king of the gods knew Psyche had earned her place. A chalice of ambrosia was brought forward, the drink that only gods could taste. It shimmered like stars melted into gold. Psyche drank, and in that moment, she became immortal, not because of her beauty, not because of who she married, but because she chose again and again not to give up. She became the goddess of the soul, and Eros, the god of love, was no longer alone. They say their bond created a child named Voluptas, or pleasure, a reminder that when love and soul unite, something beautiful is born. So what does this story mean for you? It means love isn't easy, that trust, once broken, can be rebuilt, but only through action. It means beauty fades, but character survives everything. Psyche wasn't a goddess when she started. She was scared, uncertain, doubted, and even failed. But she rose. She fought. She became who she was meant to be, not by magic, but by choice. And that, dear dreamer, is the story of Psyche, not a tale about being saved, but about saving yourself. You don't need wings to rise, you just need a soul brave enough to climb.